The summer sun beat down hard on the small auto repair shop at the edge of town. Inside the open garage, Rosa Martinez lay on her back under an old Chevy truck. Oil stained her hands and her blue work shirt. Sweat dripped down her face. She had been working since early morning, and it was now past 3 in the afternoon. Rosa was 28 years old. She had owned this garage for 7 years, ever since her father passed away. The shop was small but clean. Tools hung neatly on the walls. A red toolbox sat in the corner. A small radio played old songs. This place was her whole life. She worked hard every day to keep it running. The sound of motorcycle engines broke through the quiet afternoon. Rosa heard them before she saw them. The rumbling grew louder and louder. She rolled out from under the truck and stood up. Her knees hurt a bit as she rose. She wiped her hands on a rag and walked toward the open garage door. 3 teenage boys rode into her parking lot on dirt bikes. 2 of the bikes sounded good and strong, but the third one made terrible noises. It sputtered and coughed. Black smoke came from the back. Oil dripped onto the ground beneath it. The boy riding it looked worried. The 3 boys turned off their engines. They took off their helmets. They were young, maybe 16 or 17 years old. They wore riding gear that had seen better days. Their pants had patches. Their boots were scuffed. But their eyes were bright with energy and youth. The tallest boy spoke first. His name was Jake. He had dark hair and a nervous smile. "Ma'am, we need help. My bike is dying. We've been riding for 2 hours and it just got worse and worse." Rosa walked closer. She looked at the damaged bike with the eyes of someone who had fixed thousands of machines. She could see the problem already. Oil leaked from the engine. The gasket was blown. Maybe other parts were damaged too. This was not a small fix. "Where are you boys headed?" Rosa asked. Her voice was calm and steady. The second boy, Marcus, stepped forward. He was shorter than Jake, with bright eyes full of hope. "We're going to a motocross competition in Ridge Valley. It's our first real competition. We've been training for months. The race starts at 6 tonight. We have to be there." The third boy, Devin, nodded quickly. "Jake is the best rider in our town. He could really win this thing, but not without his bike." Rosa knelt down beside the broken motorcycle. She touched the engine. It was hot, too hot. She looked at the oil puddle growing on her concrete floor. She checked the chain and the exhaust. She stood up and shook her head slowly. "This is not a quick fix," she said. "Your gasket is blown. I need to take apart the engine. Check for more damage. Replace parts. It will take hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours of work." The boys looked at each other. Their faces fell. Jake's shoulders dropped. Marcus bit his lip. Devin kicked at the ground with his boot. "How much will it cost?" Jake asked quietly. Rosa did the math in her head. Parts would cost at least $150. Her labor was another $100. Maybe more if there was hidden damage. She had bills to pay. Rent was due next week. She needed money for supplies. This was her business, not a charity. "About $250, Rosa said. "Maybe more depending on what I find inside." The 3 boys reached into their pockets. They pulled out crumpled dollar bills. Coins fell on the ground. They counted everything they had. Jake had $35. Marcus had $28. Devin had $24. Together they had $87. Jake held out the money to Rosa. His hand shook a little. "This is all we have. We saved for 3 months just to enter the competition and buy gas to get there. Please, can you help us? We can pay you back later. I promise." Rosa looked at the money. She looked at the 3 boys. She saw the hope in their eyes. She saw how much this meant to them. But she also thought about her own bills, her own struggles. She had learned the hard way that running a business meant making hard choices. "I can't do it for $87, Rosa said. Her voice was soft but firm. "I'm sorry. The parts alone cost more than that. And I have to pay rent. I have to buy supplies. I have to eat." Marcus stepped forward. His voice got louder. "Please, ma'am. You don't understand. This competition is everything to us. Scouts will be there. People who can help us go further. This is our only chance," Devin joined in. "We're not rich kids. We don't get many opportunities like this. Jake is really good. He deserves this chance." Jake said nothing. He just stood there holding the money. His eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them back. He was trying to be strong. Rosa felt something twist in her chest. She knew what it was like to want something badly. She knew what it was like to have dreams. But she also knew what it was like to struggle. to barely make ends meet, to have to say no even when it hurt. I understand this is important to you, Rosa said, but I can't work for free. I have my own bills, my own problems. I'm sorry. The garage fell silent except for the radio still playing in the background. An old song about lost chances drifted through the air. The afternoon sun slanted through the garage door. Dust particles floated in the light. Marcus's face turned red. You just don't care about kids with dreams. You only care about money. Rosa's jaw tightened. She crossed her arms over her chest. That's not fair. I work hard. I have to survive too. We work hard too, Devin said. We train every day after school. We save every dollar. This isn't just fun for us. This is our future. Jake finally spoke. His voice cracked. Come on, guys. She said no. We need to figure something else out. He turned to Rosa. Thank you for your time, ma'am. We're sorry to bother you. But Marcus and Devin didn't move. They stood there staring at Rosa. The anger in Marcus's eyes slowly turned to something else. Sadness, disappointment, defeat. An older man pulled into the parking lot in a blue sedan. His name was Mr. Henderson. He had an appointment to get his oil changed. He walked up and saw the three boys and their motorcycles. He saw the tension in the air. Everything okay here, Rosa? He asked. These boys need a repair I can't do for what they have, Rosa explained. Mr. Henderson looked at the teenagers. He shook his head. Accept what you can't change, boys. Life's full of disappointments. Better you learn that now. Rosa shot him a sharp look. That's not helpful, Mr. Henderson. The old man shrugged and walked into the small office area to wait. The three boys huddled together. They talked in low voices. Jake pulled out his phone. I'll call my mom. Maybe she can come get us. We'll have to tell the coaches we can't make it. Devin's voice broke. This was our shot. Our one shot. Marcus stared at Rosa. You don't understand what this means to us. Rosa's hands clenched into fists at her sides. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Don't I? The question hung in the air. Something in her tone made the boys pause. There was pain in those two words, old pain, deep pain, but before any of them could respond, Rosa turned away. She walked back into the shadows of her garage, back to her tools and her work and her own silent struggles. She disappeared among the car parts and machinery, leaving the three boys standing in the parking lot with their broken dreams and their broken bike. The three boys stood in the parking lot. They didn't know what to do. Jake held his phone in his hand but didn't make the call yet. Marcus paced back and forth, his boots scraping against the concrete. Devin sat down on the curb and put his head in his hands. Inside the garage, Rosa stood with her back to them. She gripped the edge of her workbench. Her knuckles turned white. She could hear them talking outside. She could hear the frustration in their voices. Part of her wanted to help them, but another part of her remembered all the times she had helped people and ended up struggling to pay her own bills. We can't just give up, Marcus said loudly. We have to try something. Jake looked at his phone screen. What else can we do? She said no. We don't have the money. Then we find another mechanic, Devin suggested. He stood up from the curb. There's no time, Jake said. The next shop is 30 miles away. Even if we got there, we'd never make it to the competition on time. It's over. Marcus shook his head hard. No, I'm not accepting that. Let me talk to her again. Before Jake could stop him, Marcus walked toward the garage. His footsteps echoed on the concrete floor. Rosa heard him coming but didn't turn around. Ma'am, Marcus called out. Please, just listen to me for one more minute. Rosa slowly turned around. Her face was hard to read. I already told you my answer. Marcus's words came out fast. I know, but you have to understand. This isn't just about bikes or racing. Jake's dad left when he was 10. His mom works 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. If Jake wins this competition, there's prize money. $500. That money would help his family so much, and scouts will be there. Real scouts who could give him a real future. Rosa's expression didn't change. I'm sorry about his situation, but I have my own situation. I lost my father. I run this business alone. I struggle too. Then you should understand, Marcus pressed. You should understand what it's like to need help. I do understand, Rosa said. Her voice was quiet but firm. That's exactly why I have to say no. Because I learned the hard way that you can't save everyone. You can barely save yourself. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. He wiped them away quickly, embarrassed. We're not asking you to save us. Just to give us a chance. We'll pay you back. Every dollar. I swear it. People always say that, Rosa replied. But life happens. Things change. I can't run a business on promises. Marcus stood there for a moment longer. Then he turned and walked back to his friends. His shoulders slumped in defeat. Jake was on his phone now. He was talking to his mother. Yeah, Mom, the bike broke down. We're not going to make it. I know. I know we trained hard. It's okay. Can you come get us? We're at Rosa's Auto Repair on Highway 9. Okay. Love you too. He ended the call and looked at his friends. She's coming. It'll take her about an hour. She has to finish her shift first. Devin kicked at a small rock. It skittered across the parking lot. This is so unfair. Life's unfair, Jake said. He sounded tired. Older than his 17 years. We should have known better. We should have saved more money. We should have checked the bike better before we left. Don't blame yourself, Marcus said. How were we supposed to know the gasket would blow? They sat down together on the curb. The sun continued to beat down. It was hot and getting hotter. They didn't talk much. What was there to say? Their dream was dying right there in that parking lot. Mr. Henderson came out of the office. Rosa had finished his oil change. He paid her and got ready to leave. As he walked past the boys, he paused. You boys look pretty down, he said. Our competition starts in 3 hours, Devin explained. We trained for 6 months. And now we can't go because we don't have enough money to fix the bike. Mr. Henderson reached for his wallet. The boys sat up straighter. Hope flickered in their eyes. He pulled out a business card and handed it to Jake. Here's the number for a good mechanic in Ridge Valley. If you ever make it out there, give him a call. He's honest and his prices are fair. The hope died in their eyes. Marcus's jaw tightened. Devin looked away. Thanks, Jake said quietly, taking the card. Mr. Henderson drove away. The boys sat in silence again. Inside the garage, Rosa had gone back to work on the Chevy truck. But she wasn't really working. She was just standing there with a wrench in her hand, staring at nothing. She could hear the boys outside. Their silence was somehow louder than their arguing had been. She walked over to her workbench. On the corner sat a small framed photograph. She picked it up carefully. The picture showed a teenage boy with a huge smile. He wore a racing jersey and held a small trophy. His eyes sparkled with joy in life. Rosa's thumb traced the edge of the frame. Carlos, she whispered. The photo had been taken 8 years ago. Carlos had been 15. He had just won a small BMX race in their neighborhood. It wasn't a big competition. The trophy was tiny, but he had been so proud. So happy. Rosa remembered that day clearly. She had been 20 years old. Their father had died 6 months earlier. She had inherited the garage and all its debts. She was drowning in bills and responsibility. But she had taken the afternoon off to watch her little brother race. Seeing his joy had made everything worth it. Carlos had dreamed of competing in bigger races. Regional championships. Maybe even national events. He had the talent. Everyone said so. He practiced every single day after school. He watched videos of professional riders. He saved his allowance to buy better equipment. But bigger competitions cost money. Entry fees, travel expenses, better bikes, better gear. Rosa had wanted to help him. She had wanted to give him everything. But the garage was struggling. They were barely surviving. Rosa set the photo down. She closed her eyes. The memory came flooding back whether she wanted it to or not. It had been a Tuesday evening. Carlos had come to the garage after school. Rosa was working late, as always. He had a flyer in his hand. A BMX championship was coming to a city 3 hours away. The entry fee was $150. Plus they would need gas money. Hotel money, food money, Rosa, Carlos had said. I know money is tight, but this is a big competition. Real sponsors will be there. If I could just compete, if I could just show what I can do, maybe someone would notice me. Rosa had looked at the bills spread across her desk. Rent, supplies, insurance. She was already 2 weeks late on the electric bill. She had $17 in her checking account. Carlos, I can't, she had said. I'm sorry. I just can't right now. Maybe next year, when things are better. Carlos's face had fallen, but he had nodded. He always understood. He never complained. It's okay, Rosa. I know you're doing your best. I know you work hard for us. I'll make it up to you, Rosa had promised. When the garage is doing better, I'll send you to every competition you want. I promise, Carlos had smiled. I know you will. It's okay, really. But it hadn't been okay. 2 months later, Carlos was gone. A drunk driver had run a red light. Carlos had been riding his bike to the store to get milk. Just a simple trip. 5 blocks from home. The driver had hit him at full speed. Carlos died before the ambulance arrived. He was 15 years old. Rosa opened her eyes. Tears blurred her vision. 8 years had passed, but the pain was still sharp. Still fresh. Carlos never got to compete in that championship. He never got to show the world what he could do. He never got his chance. And Rosa carried that weight every single day. The guilt. The regret. The endless what-ifs. What if she had found the money somehow? What if she had said yes? What if Carlos had gone to that competition and gotten noticed by a sponsor? What if that had changed his life path and he hadn't been on that street corner that terrible night? She knew it was foolish thinking. She knew the drunk driver was to blame, not her. But knowing that in her head didn't stop her heart from aching. Rosa wiped her eyes. She looked toward the open garage door. She could see the 3 boys still sitting on the curb, waiting for Jake's mother, waiting for their dream to officially die. They reminded her so much of Carlos. That same fire, that same desperate hope, that same belief that if they just got one chance, they could prove themselves. Rosa's chest felt tight. Her breathing came faster. She looked at the broken motorcycle. She looked at the boys. She looked at Carlos's photo. I'm sorry, she whispered to the picture. I'm so sorry I couldn't help you. But maybe, her heart whispered back, maybe you can help them. Rosa stood there frozen. A war raged inside her. Logic against emotion, business sense against human compassion, self-preservation against redemption. She thought about her bills, her struggles, all the times she had been kind and gotten burned, all the times she had helped people who never paid her back. But she also thought about Carlos, about his smile, about all the chances he never got. The boys outside started talking again. Their voices drifted into the garage. Maybe we can train for next year, Devin was saying. There will be other competitions. Maybe, Jake said. But he didn't sound like he believed it. Rosa made her decision. She didn't let herself overthink it. She just moved. She walked out of the garage into the bright sunlight. The 3 boys looked up at her. Their faces were resigned. They expected nothing. I'll fix it, Rosa said. The words hung in the air. The boys stared at her. They didn't understand at first. What? Jake said, I'll fix your bike, Rosa repeated. I'll get you to your competition. Marcus stood up quickly. But we don't have enough money. The 3 boys stared at Rosa. They couldn't believe what they had just heard. For a moment, nobody spoke. The only sound was the wind blowing through the parking lot and the distant hum of traffic on the highway. Free, Devin finally said. You'll fix it for free? Rosa nodded slowly. Yes, but there's a condition. Marcus's eyes narrowed. He had learned in his short life that nothing was ever truly free. What kind of condition? Not money, Rosa said quickly. Something else. But first, let me look at the bike properly. Let me see what we're really dealing with. Jake stood up from the curb. Ma'am, I don't understand. A minute ago you said you couldn't help us. What changed? Rosa looked at the 3 of them. She saw the confusion in their faces. The suspicion. They had been rejected so many times in their young lives that kindness made them nervous. Let's just say I remembered something important, Rosa said. Now help me get this bike into the garage. The 4 of them rolled Jake's broken motorcycle into the shop. Rosa pointed to a clear space on the floor. They positioned the bike carefully. The oil leak had gotten worse. A small puddle formed quickly beneath the engine. Rosa grabbed her rolling stool and sat down next to the bike. She pulled her toolbox closer. The boys stood around her, watching. They still seemed uncertain about what was happening. Jake, call your mother back, Rosa said without looking up. Tell her you might not need a ride after all. Jake pulled out his phone. His hands shook slightly as he dialed. Mom, yeah, it's me again. Something changed. The mechanic is going to help us. I don't know. I'll explain later. Yeah. Okay. I'll call you if we need you. Love you too. He ended the call and looked at his friends. They shared a look that said they were all thinking the same thing. Is this really happening? Rosa worked quickly. She had been fixing engines since she was 16 years old. Her father had taught her. Before that, her grandfather had taught her father. Working with machines was in her blood. She removed the engine cover. The problem was immediately clear. The head gasket had failed completely. Coolant had mixed with oil. The cylinders might be damaged. This was even worse than she had first thought. How bad is it? Marcus asked. Bad, Rosa admitted, but not impossible. I'll need to replace the gasket, flush the system, check the cylinders for cracks. If we're lucky, that's all. If we're not lucky, there might be more damage inside. How long will it take? Jake asked. His voice was tight with worry. Rosa looked at the clock on the wall. It was 3:45. If everything goes smoothly, maybe 3 hours. That would get you on the road by 7. You'd be late for the competition, but you might make it for the later heats. Better late than never, Devin said. Rosa selected her tools. As she worked, she said, You boys don't have to just stand there. If you want to help, I can teach you a few things. Marcus stepped forward immediately. Really, you'd teach us? Why not, Rosa said. Might as well learn something today. Jake, hand me that socket wrench. The big one? Jake found the tool and gave it to her. Rosa showed him how to position it properly. She explained what she was doing with each step. The boys listened carefully. They asked questions. They were smart and eager to learn. As Rosa worked, the garage felt different. Less lonely. She usually worked alone with only the radio for company. Having people there, especially young people with energy and hope, changed the atmosphere. Can I ask you something? Devin said after a while. Sure, Rosa replied. She was focused on removing a stubborn bolt. Why did you change your mind? You seemed really sure about saying no. Then suddenly you said yes. What happened? Rosa paused. The wrench hung in her hand. She had known this question would come. She had been preparing her answer. But now that the moment was here, the words stuck in her throat. She set down the wrench. She stood up and walked over to her workbench. The framed photograph still sat there. She picked it up. She looked at it for a long moment. Then she carried it back to where the boy stood. You asked what changed, Rosa said quietly. It was because of him. She held out the photograph. The 3 boys leaned in to look. They saw the teenage boy with the bright smile and the trophy. Who is he? Jake asked. My little brother, Carlos. Rosa's voice was soft. He would have been 23 now. But he died when he was 15. The garage became very quiet. The boys didn't know what to say. Rosa sat down on her stool. She held the picture in her lap. Carlos loved racing. BMX mostly. But he loved all kinds of bikes and competitions. He had real talent. Everyone said so. He practiced every day. He dreamed about competing in big championships, did he? Marcus asked. Did he get to compete? Rosa shook her head. No, he never got the chance. She told them the story. About their father dying. About inheriting the garage and all its debts. About struggling to keep the business alive while raising a teenage brother. About Carlos finding the flyer for the championship. About having to tell him no because there wasn't enough money. The boys listened. They understood that feeling. They knew what it was like to want something badly and be told no because of money. I told him next year, Rosa continued. I promised him that when things got better, I would send him to every competition he wanted. I meant it too. I was working so hard to save money. To build the business. I thought I had time. Her voice broke slightly. She took a breath and continued. But 2 months later, Carlos was riding his bike to the store. Just a simple errand. 5 blocks from home. A drunk driver ran a red light. Hit him at full speed. He died instantly. Jake put his hand over his mouth. Devin's eyes filled with tears. Marcus looked down at the floor. He was 15 years old, Rosa said. He never got to show the world what he could do. He never got his chance. And I have to live with that every day. But it wasn't your fault, Jake said. The drunk driver killed him. Not you. I know that in my head, Rosa replied. But my heart tells a different story. My heart says I should have found a way. I should have said yes. I should have given him that chance when I could. She set the photo down carefully on her workbench. She turned back to face the boys. When you 3 showed up here with your broken bike and your big dreams, I saw Carlos. I saw that same hope in your eyes. That same desperation for just one chance to prove yourselves. And I did to you what I did to him. I said no. But you changed your mind, Devin said. I went back inside and looked at his picture, Rosa explained. And I realized something. I can't bring Carlos back. I can't give him his chance. But I can give you yours. I can do for you what I wish someone had done for him. Marcus wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I'm sorry about your brother. Thank you, Rosa said. He was a good kid. The best, Jake spoke up. His voice was thick with emotion. We'll race for him today. If that's okay. We'll race in honor of Carlos. Rosa's eyes glistened. She nodded. He would have liked that. The moment hung there between them. Something had shifted. This was no longer just a mechanic fixing a bike for some strangers. This was something deeper, something more meaningful. Rosa cleared her throat. Okay, enough sad talk. We have work to do, and I still haven't told you about my condition. Right, Marcus said. You said there was a condition for fixing the bike. Rosa picked up her wrench again. As she returned to the engine, she explained. You don't pay me with money. You pay me differently. Each of you has to promise to help 3 young people over the next year. 3 kids who have dreams but face obstacles. It doesn't have to be about bikes. It could be anything. Tutoring, mentoring, sharing equipment, giving rides, helping with job applications, whatever someone needs. The boys looked at each other. That's it? Devin asked. Just help 3 kids? That's it, Rosa confirmed. Pay it forward. That's the price, but why? Jake asked. Why not just let us pay you back the money later? Rosa stopped working. She looked at them directly. Because money doesn't matter as much as people think. Carlos taught me that. He died with nothing. All the money I was trying to save, all the bills I was trying to pay, none of it mattered when he was gone. What mattered was the time we didn't spend together, the chances I didn't give him, the dreams I didn't support. She went back to the engine. Her voice was stronger now. I can't change what happened to Carlos, but I can try to create a world where kids like him, kids like you, get more chances, where someone shows up when it matters, where dreams don't die because of money. Marcus stepped closer. We promise. All 3 of us. We'll help other kids. We'll pay it forward. I believe you, Rosa said. Now hand me that smaller wrench. We've got a bike to fix and a competition to catch. The boys worked alongside her with new energy. They weren't just fixing a bike anymore. They were part of something bigger. Something that connected them to a boy they had never met but somehow knew. A boy whose lost dreams were giving life to theirs. As Rosa removed the damaged gasket, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not quite peace, but something close. Purpose. The heavy guilt she carried every day felt just a little bit lighter. Carlos would be proud of you, Jake said quietly. Rosa smiled. A real smile. I hope so. I really do hope so. The work continued. Outside, the sun moved across the sky. Inside the garage, 4 people worked together. They were building more than an engine. They were building a bridge between past and present, between loss and hope, between one boy's ended dream and 3 boys' beginning ones. And in the photograph on the workbench, Carlos smiled on, forever 15, forever hopeful, his legacy now living in the kindness of a sister who loved him, and the dreams of 3 boys who would carry his memory forward. The garage filled with the sounds of work, metal against metal, the click of wrenches, the steady breathing of 4 people focused on one goal. Rosa's hands moved with practiced skill across the broken engine. The boys watched and learned and helped when they could. Marcus proved to be surprisingly good with tools. His hands were quick and steady. When Rosa needed something, he could find it fast in her organized toolbox. You have a knack for this, Rosa told him. You ever think about working with machines? Marcus shrugged. Never really thought about it. My teachers say I'm not smart enough for technical stuff. They say I should aim for simple jobs. Rosa looked up at him sharply. Don't let anyone tell you what you're capable of. I've had professors come in here who couldn't change a tire. And I've had high school dropouts who understood engines better than most engineers. Smart comes in different forms. Marcus's face brightened. He stood a little taller. Devin, meanwhile, asked a million questions. How does this part work? Why does that connect there? What happens if this breaks? Rosa answered each one patiently. She remembered being that curious when her father first taught her about cars. You like understanding how things work, don't you? Rosa observed. Yeah, Devin admitted. I'm terrible at school. Reading is hard for me. Math makes no sense. But when someone shows me how something works, how the pieces fit together, I get it. That's called mechanical intelligence, Rosa explained. It's just as valuable as book smarts. Maybe more valuable when your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Devin smiled. It was clear that no one had ever called him intelligent before in any way. Jake stood back a bit, watching more than helping. He seemed lost in thought. Finally, he spoke. My mom works as a waitress at 2 different restaurants. She leaves at 5 in the morning and doesn't get home until after 9 at night. She does this so I can have a chance at a better life." Rosa looked at him while her hands continued working. "That's love." "I know," Jake said. "That's why this competition matters so much. The prize money would help her. But more than that, if scouts notice me, if I could get sponsored, maybe I could start winning real money. Maybe my mom could work just one job. Maybe she could rest." "How old is your mom?" Rosa asked. 35. "But she looks 50. Work has worn her down." Rosa thought about her own struggles. She was 28 and already felt ancient some days. "Does she know how much you appreciate her?" "I tell her all the time," Jake said. "But words feel empty. I want to show her. I want to give her something real." "Then you race your heart out today," Rosa said firmly. "You show those scouts what you can do. You win this thing. Not just for you, but for her." Jake nodded. His jaw set with determination. The work continued. Rosa removed the old gasket piece by piece. Some parts came out easily. Others fought her. She had to use different tools, different techniques. The boys saw that even an expert struggled sometimes. That failure and frustration were part of the process. "Don't give up on the stubborn bolts," Rosa muttered, more to herself than to them. "They always come loose eventually if you're patient." Finally, the old gasket was completely removed. Rosa examined the cylinders carefully with a flashlight. She ran her fingers along the surfaces, feeling for cracks or damage. "How does it look?" Marcus asked nervously. Rosa smiled. "Lucky, we got lucky. No cracks, no major damage. Just the gasket failure. We can fix this." The boys exhaled in relief. Devin actually jumped up and down once. Rosa pulled out a new gasket from her parts inventory. It was one of the last ones she had in stock. She had been planning to order more next week. But this seemed like a better use for it. She showed the boys how to properly install a gasket. How to clean the surfaces first, how to apply sealant correctly, how to tighten the bolts in the right sequence to ensure even pressure. They watched with total focus. As she worked, Rosa found herself talking more than usual. She told them stories about her father, how he had taught her everything, how he had believed in her when others said a girl couldn't be a mechanic, how he had made her feel capable and strong. "He sounds like he was a great dad," Jake said. "He was," Rosa agreed. "Losing him was hard, but he left me something valuable. Skills, knowledge, and this place. He gave me a way to survive." "Is that why you keep working so hard?" Devin asked. "To honor him?" Rosa paused. She hadn't thought about it that way before. "Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. I want to prove he was right to believe in me. I want to show that what he taught me mattered." "It did matter," Marcus said. "You're saving our dreams right now because of what he taught you." Rosa felt emotion swell in her chest. These boys understood things that many adults didn't. They saw connections. They recognized the web that linked past to present to future. The installation of the new gasket took time. Rosa was careful and precise. This had to be done right. If the gasket failed again on the road, the boys would never make it to their competition. She worked with extra care, double-checking everything. While her hands worked, her mind wandered to Carlos again. She thought about all the conversations they used to have right here in this garage. He would sit on that same stool where Devin now sat. He would hand her tools just like Marcus was doing. He would ask questions like Devin did. Carlos had loved coming to the garage after school. Even though he was into bikes and racing, he appreciated what Rosa did. He was proud of his big sister. He would tell his friends, "My sister can fix anything. She's the smartest person I know." Rosa's eyes stung. She blinked hard. "Focus on the work," she told herself. "Finish the job. You okay, Miss Rosa?" Jake asked. He had noticed her wipe her eyes. "I'm fine," Rosa said. "Just some dust. Happens in garages." But Jake didn't look convinced. He seemed to understand that the dust wasn't in her eyes but in her heart. Memories stirred up. Old pain brought back to the surface. The time passed. 5 o'clock came and went. Then 5:30. The boys checked their phones constantly. They calculated drive time, competition schedule, whether they could still make it. "The opening ceremony starts at 6, Jake said, "but the actual first race isn't until 7. If we leave by 6:30, we might make it for the later heats." "We'll make it," Rosa said with confidence she didn't quite feel. "Trust me." At 6 o'clock, Rosa finished installing the gasket. She began putting the engine back together. All the parts that had come out now had to go back in. The boys helped where they could. They held parts. They handed tools. They learned. Rosa explained everything as she worked. Mechanics isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about understanding how everything works together. Each part has a purpose. Each connection matters. If one thing is wrong, the whole system fails. Kinda like a team, Marcus said. Like our racing team. If one person isn't pulling their weight, we all suffer. Exactly like that, Rosa agreed. You're smarter than your teachers think, Marcus. He grinned. By 6:20, the engine was back together. Rosa added new oil. She checked the coolant level. She tested the connections. Everything looked good. But the real test would be starting the engine. Moment of truth, Rosa said. She looked at Jake. You want to start it? Jake's hands trembled as he took the key. He sat on the bike. The other boys stood on either side. Rosa stood in front, ready to listen to the engine sound with her trained ear. Go ahead, Rosa said. Jake turned the key. He pressed the start button. The engine turned over once, twice, then it roared to life. The sound was beautiful. Clean, strong, no sputtering. No coughing, no smoke. The bike sounded better than it had in months. Devin and Marcus cheered. They high-fived each other. Jake revved the engine a few times. It responded perfectly. You did it. Devin shouted. Miss Rosa, you actually did it. Rosa smiled. A real, genuine smile that reached her eyes. We did it. All of us together. Jake turned off the engine. He got off the bike and walked straight to Rosa. Before she could react, he wrapped his arms around her in a tight hug. Rosa stiffened for just a moment, then relaxed. She hugged him back. Thank you, Jake whispered. Thank you so much. When they separated, both had tears in their eyes. Marcus and Devin hugged Rosa too. It was awkward and sweet and real. These boys who had been strangers just 3 hours ago now felt like something more. Like family. Like the little brother Rosa had lost. Remember your promise, Rosa said, her voice thick with emotion. 3 kids each, help them. Give them chances. Pay it forward. We will, all 3 boys said together. And not just this year, Rosa added. Make it a habit. Make it part of who you are. Look for opportunities to help others, especially young people with dreams who face obstacles. We promise, Jake said seriously. This doesn't end today. We'll carry this forward for the rest of our lives. Rosa nodded. She walked to her workbench and picked up Carlos's photo. She carried it over to the boys. Race for him today. For Carlos. Show the world what young people can do when someone believes in them. We will, Marcus said. He touched the frame gently. We promise, Carlos. We won't let you down. The boys gathered their gear. They put on their helmets. They started their bikes. All 3 engines sounded strong and ready. As they prepared to leave, Rosa called out one more thing. Jake, you're going to win today. I know it, I can feel it, Jake smiled. If I do, I'm dedicating that trophy to Carlos and to you. Just win, Rosa said. That's all the dedication I need. The 3 boys rode out of the garage. They waved as they pulled onto the highway. Rosa stood in the doorway watching until they disappeared from sight. The garage felt quiet again. Empty. But different than before. Not lonely, just peaceful. Rosa walked back to her workbench. She looked at Carlos's photo. I helped them, Carlos. I gave them their chance. I wish I could have done the same for you. She set the photo down gently. For the first time in 8 years, the weight of guilt felt a little lighter. She hadn't saved Carlos. But maybe in some small way she had honored his memory. Outside, the sun was beginning to set. The sky turned orange and pink. Rosa cleaned her tools and put them away. She washed the oil from her hands. She turned off the lights. As she locked up the garage for the night, she felt something unexpected. Hope. Not for herself, but for those 3 boys. And for all the young people they would help in the years to come. The ripple effect of one act of kindness. That was Carlos's legacy now, and Rosa was finally at peace with that. 6 months passed like water flowing under a bridge. Winter came to the small town. The garage stayed busy. Rosa worked long hours as always. But something had changed inside her. The work felt different now. It had meaning beyond just paying bills. She thought about the 3 boys often. She wondered if they had made it to the competition. She wondered if they kept their promise. She had no way to know. They hadn't exchanged phone numbers or addresses. That had been intentional on Rosa's part. She didn't want them to feel obligated to report back to her. The promise was between them and the world, not between them and her. It was a cold Tuesday morning in January when the bell above the garage door rang. Rosa was working on a transmission. She rolled out from under the car to see a young woman standing in the entrance. The woman was maybe 25 years old. She wore a heavy coat and carried a messenger bag. She looked professional but friendly. "Are you Rosa Martinez?" she asked. "That's me," Rosa said, standing up and wiping her hands on a rag. "What can I do for you?" "My name is Jennifer Walsh. I'm an English teacher at Lincoln High School. I think you know one of my students. Devin Harris?" Rosa's heart jumped. "Devin, is he okay?" "He's fine," Jennifer said quickly. "Better than fine, actually. That's why I'm here. Can I talk to you for a few minutes?" Rosa nodded. She led Jennifer to the small office area where she kept a desk and 2 old chairs. They sat down. Rosa's mind raced with questions. Jennifer smiled. "Devin was failing my class at the beginning of the year. He struggled with reading comprehension. Writing was nearly impossible for him. I thought he might drop out before graduation." Rosa felt her chest tighten. But something changed in August. Marcus Chen, another student, started tutoring Devin during lunch periods. Marcus is very patient. He found ways to explain things that made sense to Devin. Devin's grades started improving. Slowly at first, then faster. Rosa felt warmth spread through her body. Marcus had kept his promise. He was helping Devin. That was one of his 3. Marcus said it was part of a promise he made, Jennifer continued. "He mentioned you. He said a mechanic taught him that success isn't just about winning. It's about lifting others up." Rosa's eyes filled with tears. She tried to blink them away but couldn't. "That's not why I came, though," Jennifer said. She reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. Devin wrote his college application essay about second chances, about a mechanic who taught him that kindness can change lives, about learning that one person believing in you can make all the difference. She handed the folder to Rosa. Rosa opened it with shaking hands. She read Devin's words. His writing was simple but powerful. He wrote about the day his friend's bike broke down, about a mechanic who said no at first, then changed her mind, about learning that people carry hidden pain, about a boy named Carlos who never got his chance, about making a promise to pay it forward. The essay ended with these words. "Miss Rosa taught me that I matter, that my dreams are valid, that I can help others even when I feel like I have nothing to give. She gave us a chance when no one else would. Now I want to spend my life giving chances to others." Rosa couldn't see the page anymore through her tears. "Did he get in? To college?" Jennifer's smile grew wider. "Full scholarship. To State University. He'll be the first person in his family to attend college." The admissions director said his essay was one of the most moving they'd read in years. Rosa put her face in her hands. She cried. Not sad tears this time. Happy tears. Proud tears. Relief tears. Jennifer waited patiently, understanding that some moments require silence. When Rosa finally composed herself, she looked up. "Thank you for telling me this. You didn't have to come all this way." "Yes, I did," Jennifer said. "Teachers don't always get to see the full impact of what we do. Neither do mechanics, I suppose. But you changed that boy's life. You changed Marcus's life too. He's becoming a peer tutor now. Officially, he's helping 5 other struggling students." Rosa shook her head in wonder. 5, he's exceeding his promise. What promise? Jennifer asked. Rosa told her the story. About the 3 boys and their broken bike. About Carlos. About making them promise to help 3 young people each. About paying it forward. Jennifer listened with wide eyes. When Rosa finished, Jennifer said quietly, "You created a movement. Do you realize that?" "It's just 3 boys keeping a promise," Rosa said. "Is it?" Jennifer pulled out her phone. She showed Rosa her Instagram feed. There was a post from Devin's account. It showed a photo of a group of teenagers standing around a motorcycle. The caption read, "Paying it forward. Teaching younger kids bike maintenance so they can keep their rides running. Thanks to Miss Rosa for showing us what matters." Rosa stared at the photo. "That's not one of the original 3 bikes." "No," Jennifer agreed. "They're teaching others now. Your 3 boys are multiplying. They've inspired other kids at school. There's a whole club now. They help younger students with various problems, homework, job applications, equipment repairs, whatever is needed. Rosa couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her one act of kindness had grown into something bigger than she ever imagined. Over the next few weeks, Rosa learned more. Jake's mother came to the garage. She arrived on a Saturday afternoon when Rosa was closing up. She was a small woman with tired eyes but a warm smile. "I'm Jake's mom," she said. "I had to meet you. I had to thank you in person." Rosa invited her in. They sat in the office. Jake's mother told her story. Jake came home that night after the competition. He was so excited. He had placed third. Not first, but third was enough. A sponsor noticed him. A small local company that makes bike parts. They're giving him free equipment for the next year and entry fees for competitions. "That's wonderful," Rosa said sincerely. "But that's not the best part," Jake's mother continued. "Jake has changed. He used to be so focused on just himself, his dreams, his goals. Now he's always helping others. He volunteers at a youth center 3 times a week. He teaches young kids how to ride safely. He raises money for kids who can't afford equipment." She pulled out her wallet. She tried to hand Rosa $300. "For the repair. We can pay you now." Rosa pushed the money back gently. "No, that's not how this works. Take that money and give it to a kid who needs it. Buy someone's competition entry fee. Purchase equipment for someone who can't afford it." "That's how you pay me back," Jake's mother cried. She hugged Rosa. "You're an angel." "You know that?" Rosa shook her head. "I'm just someone who learned too late that kindness matters more than money." In February, Marcus showed up at the garage with his mother. Marcus had grown a few inches. He looked more confident, more sure of himself. "Miss Rosa," he called out when he saw her. "I have something to show you." He handed her a report card. "All B's and 1A in math." "Marcus is getting tutored now too," his mother explained. "And he's tutoring others. He's found his purpose. Teachers say he's a natural educator. He's thinking about becoming a teacher himself." Marcus looked embarrassed but pleased. "I never thought I was smart enough. But helping Devin and the others, I realized I understand things. I can explain things. Maybe I can do this for real." "You absolutely can," Rosa said firmly. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Marcus hugged her. "I've helped 7 kids so far this year. Way more than 3. Once you start helping people, it's hard to stop. It feels good. That's the secret," Rosa said. "Helping others is the best way to help yourself." Spring arrived. The garage stayed busy, but now young people started showing up. Not always for car repairs, sometimes just to talk. Word had spread somehow that there was a mechanic who understood, who listened, who cared. A girl came in with a broken scooter. She had $5. Rosa fixed it for free and told her about paying it forward. A boy needed advice about applying for a job. Rosa helped him practice his interview skills. A teenager wanted to learn about cars so she could fix her single mother's old sedan. Rosa taught her the basics. The garage became more than a business. It became a gathering place, a safe space, a place where young people could come and be seen, be heard, be valued. Rosa started keeping a journal. She wrote down the names of every young person she helped. Next to each name, she wrote what she did for them. The journal filled up faster than she expected. One evening in late March, she sat alone in the garage after closing. She looked at the journal. She had helped 42 young people in 6 months. Some in big ways, some in small ways. Each one mattered. She looked at Carlos's photo. "I'm doing it, little brother. I'm giving other kids the chances you never got. I hope you're proud." The photo seemed to smile back at her, not sad anymore, peaceful. Rosa realized something profound. She had spent 8 years carrying guilt. 8 years punishing herself for not helping Carlos. 8 years believing she had failed him. But now she understood. She hadn't failed. She had just learned the lesson too late to help him. But not too late to help others. Carlos's death had meaning now. His lost dreams were fueling the dreams of dozens of other young people. Through her, through the 3 boys, through everyone they touched, Carlos's spirit lived on. She wasn't just a mechanic anymore. She was a mentor, a believer, a giver of chances. And it all started because 3 teenage boys showed up with a broken bike and broken dreams, and she chose to fix both. The phone rang. It was almost 8 at night. Rosa usually didn't answer this late, but something made her pick up. "Rosa's Auto Repair," she said. "Miss Rosa?" It was Jake's voice. "I'm sorry to call so late. But I wanted you to know I won. I won the regional championship today. I'm going to nationals, Rosa's heart soared. Jake, that's amazing. Congratulations. I couldn't have done it without you, Jake said. His voice was thick with emotion. Not just because you fixed my bike that day, but because you showed me what really matters. I'm not racing just for me anymore. I'm racing for everyone who helped me, for everyone I want to help, for Carlos. Rosa's tears came again. Good tears, healing tears. He would be so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. The trophy has a place for an inscription, Jake said. I'm going to write for Carlos Martinez. This one's for you. Is that okay? Rosa couldn't speak for a moment. She just nodded even though he couldn't see her. Finally she managed, That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. After she hung up, Rosa sat in the quiet garage. She thought about how much had changed in 6 months. Not just for the 3 boys, but for her. She was lighter now, happier. The guilt that had weighed her down for 8 years was finally lifting. Not gone completely. It would never be completely gone. But manageable. Transformed into something positive. She had learned that you can't change the past. You can't bring back lost chances, but you can create new chances. You can give to others what you couldn't give to those you lost. And in doing so, you honor their memory better than any tears or guilt ever could. Rosa turned off the lights and locked up the garage. As she walked to her truck, she looked up at the stars. Thank you, Carlos, she whispered. Thank you for teaching me even in death what really matters. I finally get it. I finally understand. The night was quiet and peaceful, and for the first time in 8 years, so was Rosa's heart. The first anniversary of that summer day arrived quietly. Rosa woke up on a Saturday morning in August. Exactly 1 year had passed since 3 teenage boys rode into her garage with a broken motorcycle and broken hopes. She wondered where they were now, what they were doing, if they remembered their promise. The garage had changed over the year. Rosa had painted the walls a brighter color. She had added a small sitting area with chairs and a coffee maker. Young people often stopped by now, even when they didn't need repairs. The place had become known in the community as somewhere you could go if you needed help or advice. Rosa made coffee and opened the garage doors. The morning air was warm and fresh. Summer sounds filled the air. Birds singing, cars passing on the highway, life continuing its steady rhythm. She was organizing her tools when a car pulled into the parking lot. A woman stepped out. She was maybe 30 years old, professionally dressed in a business suit. She walked toward the garage with purpose. Are you Rosa Martinez? The woman asked. Rosa set down her wrench. I am. Can I help you? The woman smiled. I'm Sarah Chen, Marcus's mother. We met briefly last winter, Rosa remembered. Of course. How is Marcus? That's why I'm here, Sarah said. She looked emotional. Marcus graduated last month. With honors. He got accepted to the State Teachers College with a partial scholarship. He's going to become a teacher. Rosa felt joy surge through her. That's wonderful news. He credits you, Sarah continued. He says you're the reason he found his path. You showed him he was capable, that he mattered, that he could help others. I just fixed a bike, Rosa said modestly. No, Sarah said firmly. You did so much more than that. Can I show you something? She pulled out her phone and opened a video. She handed it to Rosa. The video showed Marcus standing in front of a classroom of younger students. He was teaching them math. His explanations were clear and patient. The students were engaged in learning. He volunteers at the youth center now, Sarah explained. 20 hours a week. He teaches kids who struggle in school. Kids who need someone to believe in them, just like you believed in him. The video ended. Rosa handed back the phone. He's going to be an amazing teacher. He keeps a list, Sarah said, of every student he helps. He's up to 43 kids now. 43 young people who are doing better because Marcus took time to help them. And it all started because of you. Rosa shook her head. It started because Marcus has a good heart. You showed him how to use that heart, Sarah insisted. She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. The 3 boys wanted you to have this. They've been saving all year. Rosa opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $2,000 and a letter. The letter was written in 3 different handwriting styles. Each boy had written a section. Jake's part said, Dear Miss Rosa, this is from our competition winnings and part-time jobs. We want you to use it to help the next kid who comes to you with big dreams and an empty wallet. For Carlos. Always for Carlos. Marcus's section read, "You changed my life. I'm going to change lives too. That's the promise. Thank you for seeing something in me that I couldn't see in myself." Devin's part said, "I'm in college now. First in my family. I'm studying mechanical engineering because you showed me I was smart enough. I'll never forget what you did for us." Rosa's vision blurred with tears. She held the letter to her chest. "There's more," Sarah said. She pulled out a newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Local Teens Start Second Chances Initiative." The article told the story of how 3 teenage boys had started a movement at their high school. They had created a program where students helped other students. Tutoring, mentoring, equipment sharing, job search assistance. The program had grown to include over 50 volunteers. They had helped more than 200 students in the past year. The article quoted Jake, "A mechanic taught us that kindness creates ripples. One act of generosity can spread wider than you ever imagine. We're just passing on what was given to us." Rosa read the article twice. She couldn't believe it. Her one decision to help 3 boys had multiplied into hundreds of acts of kindness, into a whole movement of young people helping each other. "They want to meet with you," Sarah said. "All 3 of them. And some of the other students. They're coming here at noon if that's okay. They have something to show you." Rosa nodded, unable to speak. At noon, a caravan of vehicles pulled into the parking lot. The 3 boys climbed out of the first car. They were taller now, more mature, but their smiles were the same. Jake ran to Rosa and hugged her tight. "Miss Rosa, it's so good to see you." Marcus and Devin joined the hug. It was awkward and beautiful. Rosa laughed through her tears. "Look at you 3, she said, stepping back to really see them. "All grown up, thanks to you," Devin said. More young people emerged from the other vehicles. There were at least 20 of them. They gathered around Rosa's garage. Some she recognized from visits over the past year. Others were new faces. Jake stepped forward. He held a large covered object. "We made something for you. All of us together. We want you to have it." He pulled off the cover. It was a wooden plaque, beautifully carved and polished. The words read, "Rosa's Garage, where second chances begin, in memory of Carlos Martinez 1. Act of kindness can change the world." Below that were the names of over 100 young people, students who had been helped by the Second Chances program, students whose lives had been changed by the ripple effect of Rosa's decision 1 year ago. Rosa couldn't hold back her tears anymore. She sobbed openly. Happy tears, grateful tears, healing tears. "We're going to hang it right there," Jake said, pointing to the wall near the entrance. "So everyone who comes here knows what this place stands for." The young people surrounded Rosa. They told their stories. A girl who had been failing school but was now honor roll because Marcus tutored her. A boy who got his first job because Devin helped him with his application. A teenager who learned to fix her mother's car because Rosa taught her the basics. Story after story of lives touched and changed. Marcus pulled Rosa aside. "Remember you told me to help 3 people? I'm at 43 now, and I'm not stopping, ever. This is who I am now. A helper, a believer, a giver of chances. I'm so proud of you," Rosa said, her voice thick with emotion. Jake showed her photos on his phone, pictures from his competitions, trophies he had won, but then he showed her pictures of young kids learning to ride bikes. "I started a free riding school for kids who can't afford lessons. 20 students so far. Some of them are really talented. One might go professional someday." Devin had brought his college textbooks. "Look," he said, showing her his grades. "All A's and B's. I'm really doing it, Miss Rosa. I'm becoming an engineer. I'm going to design vehicles that are safer and more efficient. And someday I'm going to hire kids like me. Kids who people said weren't smart enough." The afternoon passed in a blur of stories and laughter and tears. The young people helped Rosa hang the plaque. They took pictures together. They shared a meal of pizza and soda. The garage was full of life and energy and hope. As the sun began to set, the crowd slowly dispersed. People hugged Rosa goodbye. They promised to stay in touch. They thanked her again and again. Finally, only the 3 original boys remained. They sat with Rosa in her office area. The 4 of them, just like that first day a year ago. But everything was different now. "We never told you what happened that day," Jake said. "At the competition," Rosa leaned forward. "Tell me now." "We got there late," Jake continued. Missed the opening ceremony and the first two heats, but we made it in time for the main event. I was so nervous. My hands were shaking. I kept thinking about you and Carlos, about not wasting this chance. The race was intense, Marcus added. Jake was up against riders who had been competing for years. Professional equipment, professional training, but Jake rode like he had wings. I came in third, Jake said. Not first. But third was enough. A small company noticed me. They sponsored me for the next year. That led to bigger sponsors, better equipment, more competitions. And you won the regional championship, Rosa said, remembering his phone call. I did, and Nationals is next month. But the best part isn't the trophies or the sponsors. It's knowing that I'm using what I have to help others. Just like you helped us, Devin spoke up. Do you remember when you said mechanics is about understanding how everything works together? That each part has a purpose? Rosa nodded. You taught us we're all parts of something bigger, Devin said. We're connected. What we do affects others. One person's kindness can change a whole system. You changed us. We changed others. They changed even more people. It goes on and on. Like ripples in water, Rosa said softly. Exactly, Marcus agreed. And it all started because you chose kindness over profit. You chose us over your bills. You chose to honor Carlos by helping us. Rosa looked at Carlos's photo on her workbench. The three boys followed her gaze. Can I tell you something? Rosa said quietly. For 8 years I carried guilt about Carlos. I thought I had failed him. I thought saying no to his dream made me a bad sister. I punished myself every single day. The boys listened intently. But you three taught me something, Rosa continued. You taught me that I didn't fail Carlos. I learned from him. His lost dream taught me what really matters. And through you, through everyone you've helped, Carlos's dream is alive. It's multiplied. He wanted to race and inspire people. And through this movement you've created, he's doing exactly that. Jake wiped his eyes. He's here with us, in everything we do. Yes, Rosa agreed. He is. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. The garage was quiet now. The sun had set. Stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Marcus stood up. We should let you close up. But we'll be back. We'll always come back. This place is special to us. The three boys hugged Rosa one more time. They walked toward their vehicles. Jake turned back at the last moment. Miss Rosa, thank you. For everything. For the bike. For the lesson. For showing us who we could become. Rosa smiled. Thank you for keeping your promise. For being the kind of young men the world needs. They drove away. Rosa stood in the doorway of her garage, watching their taillights disappear down the highway. She looked up at the new plaque on her wall. She read the words again. One act of kindness can change the world. It was true. She had seen it happen. She had watched one decision multiply into hundreds of transformed lives. And it was still growing. The ripples were still spreading outward. Rosa walked to her workbench. She picked up Carlos's photo. She traced the frame gently with her finger. We did it, little brother, she whispered. Your dream didn't die with you. It transformed into something bigger. You're helping so many kids now. Kids you never met. Kids who will never know your name but who benefit from your legacy. She set the photo down carefully. Next to it, she placed a small note that Jake had written. It simply said, for Carlos, the boy who started it all. Rosa turned off the lights and locked the garage. As she walked to her truck, she felt something she hadn't felt in 8 years. Complete peace. The guilt was gone. The regret had transformed into purpose. The pain had become a gift that she shared with others. She drove home under a sky full of stars. And she knew that somewhere out there, 3 young men were helping someone. Teaching someone. Believing in someone. Paying forward the kindness they had received. The next morning, Rosa arrived at the garage early. A young girl was waiting outside. She had a broken scooter and worry in her eyes. She looked about 14 years old. Are you the mechanic who helps kids? The girl asked nervously. Rosa smiled warmly. I am. What's your name? Emma. My scooter broke and I need it to get to my job. But I only have $12. Rosa looked at the scooter. Simple fix. Maybe 30 minutes of work. Let's take a look, Rosa said. She rolled the scooter into the garage. Emma followed. As Rosa examined the scooter, she said, I'll fix this for you. No charge, but I need you to promise me something. Emma looked suspicious. What? Rosa told her about paying it forward, about helping 3 young people in the next year, about creating ripples of kindness, about a boy named Carlos who never got his chance but whose spirit lived on through others. Emma listened with wide eyes. When Rosa finished, the girl nodded seriously. "I promise. I'll help 3 people, maybe more," Rosa smiled. "Then let's fix your ride." As she worked, Rosa felt Carlos's presence. Not sad or haunting, just there, watching, approving, proud. The ripples continued. The movement grew. And in a small garage at the edge of town, one woman honored her brother's memory by giving chances to everyone who needed them. Because in the end, that's what love does. It multiplies. It spreads. It transforms loss into hope and pain into purpose. And it all started with 3 teenage boys, a broken motorcycle, and a mechanic who chose kindness over everything else. The story didn't end that day. It never really ends, because every person Rosa helped went on to help others, and those people helped even more. The ripples spread wider and wider, touching lives in ways Rosa would never fully know. But that was okay. She didn't need to know every story. She just needed to keep creating chances, keep believing in young people, keep honoring Carlos, and that's exactly what she did, every single day for the rest of her life.